try to describe as much for our listeners as possible, and in particular, what I want to know. What's your favorite part of the book? What was the thing where you're writing and go, you know what? This is really special, and I hope people pay attention to this chapter, anecdote. What was that?
Oh, there's a lot of stuff like that. I have a lot of weird stories and events that happened to me over the years. I started out as a kid, and my relationship to American musical history, and the musical culture. I was born in 1950. I grew up with the Beatles and the Stones, and I was in San Francisco in the Summer of Love in '57. I was at Woodstock, and then I fell into the New York downtown music scene in the '70s, in the mid '70s. So all that stuff, I was always around different things. There's so many little weird anecdotes in there. The big challenge for me was making them all kind of flow together.
Mm-hmm. What did you not expect to include? Put it that way. Is there just something popped in your memory and went, whoa, wait a minute, I've got to include it would have been dormant, or what did you find was not coming?
Yeah, there was a few things that came up when I was researching, because I had to do research with other Blondie books and online stuff just to get the timelines right and get the chronology right. There was a few things I can't remember. People will come up to me and go and tell me some stories that I had forgotten, and then I will have a whole flood of memories in relation to that.
Sure, the approach to a memoir can always be an interesting one, especially when it comes to rock music and pop music and all of the assorted histories, especially then throw in band members, and they're going to have their different memories, et cetera, et cetera. Your take on a memoir, is it more, I'm going to tell my story, or look, it's just out there, this is it? What was your approach as you sat down to start writing this over time?
I've lived with all these stories for many years, so just trying to get this stuff out. Things I thought about over and over again for years. And then I did a lot of the writing during the isolation period with the COVID situation. So it took quite a while.
I think it was about 2 years ago, I finally sat down and I said, all right, I need to listen through the core albums from the original run, all in order. And I hadn't listened through all of them. But for just get the history lesson and remind myself exactly how the progression of the band worked in a musical sense. My biggest takeaway from that, and I mean, anyone who's listened to Blondie knows the answer to this. This is no surprise. But for me, I went, there is not one obvious style. They had a lot of variety, and I found that incredible. There's some albums that don't sound anything like the other in a surface sense, but in a core sense, what was the thread of the music when all these genres are coming out album to album to album?
I think it was just doing what we like was the foundation. I just had a really wide musical taste always. I always liked roots music and R&B and all these other things, not just rock-based stuff.
You, in some of the interviews, have been talking about the New York of the 70s, and in some of the interviews you've been doing of late, over the past few weeks, you've been talking about the book, have been going into... Oh, side note, what kind of dogs do you have in the background?
They are annoying dogs. My wife is trying to corral them, I think.
What's the breed?
There's a Frenchie Terrier mix, and there's an old Havanese dog. He's probably the one that's the most noisy. If somebody comes to the door or there's a noise in the hall, they just don't go the fuck off.
That's great. I got a Morkie at home who will and he's 14, so he'll randomly start barking in the middle of the night. We have no idea why. What are you doing? There's nothing around here. So you got a terrier.
No, They're a noise. They're doing their job. You know.
Exactly. Don't have to worry about anyone breaking in or anything like that. So,
yeah, no, my family got collected all these dogs. I like cats better, but I like the dogs. I love the dogs, but they're a pain in the ass.
I know the story, and yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like the cats are a little bit more easier to deal with. That is true. So you've talked a lot in the other interviews. I've heard, at least in the ones I've heard, the New York thing of the '70s keeps coming up, and the whole how it's been the mythology of it. It's been part of the canon, but yet you just lived it. Okay, well, for someone like me who's been in Western Wisconsin pretty much my whole life, and the one time I was in New York was in 1996 on a high school music choir tour. So I didn't really see it. Otherwise, I've been a Midwesterner my whole life. So for our listeners who probably largely been the same, without getting into the mythology of it, but you also said you just lived it. What was the essence of that era of the creation of all those bands, your music, your presence of that decade? How would you put it without putting into too much overwrought terms?
Well, it was like a lot of do-it-yourself. There was a backlash to all this super kind of musical stuff that was going on in mainstream music, where everybody had to be a really good musician and technical, expert. There was a kind of backlash to that of just everybody saying, screw it, just pick up a guitar and start banging it, even though I can't really play. There was that. Also, it came out of hardship, too. The city was really rough back then. I see all this stuff all the time now, but, the crime is so bad in the cities. But, man, forget about it. Nobody was saying that was around in the 70s and 80s in New York.
Right. Is there any part of the city, and that's a very big term, but is there any part of the city that has that element now? We hear all about gentrification, etc. Oh, yeah, true, but is there any part that's got that, or is that it just isn't?
Yeah, the rock scene is still plowing ahead here. My daughter's friends have a band. They're just like 19, 20 years old. It still keeps going.
How would you describe the evolution of your approach to art? And I say art in the broadest way. Photography, music creation, all of that. Artistry, creativity. What's your, it's kind of a vague question, but how do you approach it today versus back at 50 years, 40, 30, 20 years ago? How do you approach trying to create something to present to other people?
Well, things are different now because it's easy to study what's out there already. With the internet, everything is available. So I do a little more studying and looking at things, listening to things that I used to. I was probably a little more tunnel vision, and I think that's where the Under a Rock title comes from. Mm-hmm. Kind of, a little bit of isolation. We were in this kind of bubble back then. But the approach is basically the same. I think I just look at more stuff now.
Would you see yourself doing another book about any particular topic?
I don't know, because I don't really read a lot of biographies. I read mostly fantasy and fiction, maybe fictional. I have no idea. We're also always trying to hustle some kind of film or TV thing, so that's always ongoing.
Okay. Well, the good news is the books already are out, are plenty good reading material, and I'll have to give this one a read as well. Under a Rock Memoir. Chris Stein, thank you for doing all that you have done. That's the music that I've listened to for decades, and I get a brief moment to say that to you. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for the book, and all the best going forward, and hope the dogs manage to stay a little more.
They seem to have calmed down. Thanks so much for supporting.